Welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited to share the newest hair tool to my hair tool collection, and that is this guy, and it's the Bondi Boost Wave Wand. I actually used to own one of these back when I lived at my old apartment, but there was some issues with mold there, which is super gross, and I feel like there was like mold growing on the wire of it, and so I decided to toss it. I don't know what reminded me of hair wavers, but I was suddenly like, aw, I missed my hair waver. So this took me down a pretty long research hole. I was looking at some on Amazon, which have come up a lot in a lot of hair waver, wave crimper, hair tools. I know a lot of people recommend a few off of Amazon, but then somehow I came across this one, and you know what sold me on it was purely the fact that it had almost like the biggest barrel size of the wavers that I could find online. So this one is 32 millimeters, or when I translated it for us Americans, it's about 1.2 inches. I would say the majority of hair wavers that I could find were all about 1 inch or less, but I knew I wanted a pretty thick barrel just because I wanted a little bit looser, a little more natural waves to my hair. So that's kind of purely the reason that I ended up buying this one. It's about $57 or $58, so 60 bucks on the Bondi Boost website. I watched a lot of reviews of this, and a lot of people really liked this. I felt like the reviews I watched, it tended to have the nicest waves that I could see, and I think that has a lot to do with the thickness of the barrel. Something else that really sold me on this is that it has universal voltage. This is a hair tool that you can travel with. I once used a blow dryer in, I think it was Switzerland, and I just assumed that because it was a travel blow dryer, like it was a blow dryer, like it's a professional blow dryer, like it was an expensive blow dryer, but I feel like it was really advertised as a travel blow dryer. So I didn't even think to check, which is totally my bad and totally my fault, just super dumb move. I went ahead and used it, was blow drying my hair, a whole thick section of my hair melted off. I melted my brush. It was a disaster. I cried. Thankfully, my blow dryer still works, but if I do want to travel and I want to have this mermaidy hair, I can take this along with me. It is pretty big though, so I might have to put a lot of thought into my packing if I take this, but I like to know that I have the option. But I really like the look of this, and I'm trying to see if I can get a good shot of it, but it almost has like a glittery finish to it, which is maybe because it's made of high-grade crystal powder tourmaline ceramic glaze. It's super easy to use, but I have a few tips so that you have the easiest time with this tool. So first and foremost, something to note, this has a digital screen, but it's in Celsius. So I think it's because this is an Australian company, which again, for us Americans, what is Celsius? What does it mean in Fahrenheit? You kind of have to just Google it. And I don't think that's a con whatsoever. I think it's just something that you Google once and then you decide, okay, I'm gonna do this temperature and I'm just gonna stick to it. So it goes between 176 to 410 degrees Fahrenheit. I basically turned it on and it automatically went to 180 degrees Celsius, which I will calculate for you, about 356 degrees Fahrenheit. I usually just crank it up all the way to the top just because I have thick hair, it's naturally curly. I'm just used to punishing it, my poor hair. But usually that gives you the best, smoothest results. But I decided to just, since it was my first time using it, stick with 180 degrees Celsius. And I feel like it worked really nicely on my hair. So it gave me some pretty natural waves. First pointer, you gotta Google the temperature and find the right temperature for you. Another tip is you have to section your hair. If you're gonna get the best result, you really need to go section by section. I would say to take kind of wider sections, maybe about 2-inch wide sections that are about 1/2 inch to 1 inch thick. I feel like that gives you the best results. That's like pretty mermaidy. So tip number 2, section your hair. And then another really helpful thing is you wanna have a very loose hold on the end of the section that you're working on. If you pull it straight, you might get kind of an uneven wave, but I feel like if you hold it loosely, you slide it down, you can kind of feel the wave bump settle into the next spot that you're supposed to clamp down on. Or it's kind of like You gotta get used to the feeling and then you really get a groove to it. But I also found it was really helpful to hold it about an inch or two down from the bottom of the crimper as you're going, because I found that if your hair starts to spread out like this, it falls out of the bottom here and then it just gets left behind and you have to kind of go back in and re-crimp the whole section just so it's together. I would say it took me about 25 to 30 minutes to do my entire head of hair, and that's on pre-straightened hair. So I blow dried my hair straight a few days ago and then I decided to just go in with this. I have very long, thick hair, so I think that was probably at the longest time frame you can anticipate, but if you have less hair than me, shorter hair than me, thinner hair than me, you might get through your hair a lot faster. And you know what? The thing with this kind of wave is I feel like it's very forgiving. Like, it's not meant to be perfect. It's mermaidy. It's supposed to look like you just walked off the beach and the salt has made your hair nice and beautiful like this. You don't have to be so perfect with it. Actually, another really helpful tip, when I was clamping down for the first time at the top of my section, I turned it out. That way I wouldn't get this little crimp right here at the top. I wanted it to be a little bit more of a smooth flow into the wave. So when you clamp down, just twist out a little bit, very lightly. You don't want to put any pressure. You don't want to pull or tug because I feel like that makes it look not as natural. So do that and then you can just continue to go all the way down. You don't have to keep bending out. At least I didn't. Maybe you could. Also, it came with this little glove. I didn't use it. I think maybe it would be a good idea to use it if you're not very used to curling your hair. I've definitely burnt myself a ton of times on hair tools. I have some scars to prove it. Not fun to burn yourself. So if you're worried, you want to be a little bit cautious, they have a nice little glove for you. This was so easy to use. I love the results. I feel like this is gonna be a hair look I'm gonna be doing a lot more often just because my hair is so long. So I'm really gonna lean into that mermaid look and I think this tool is gonna help me out. I hope these tips were helpful. Let me know if you've tried a hair waver or if you've tried this particular one. Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.